Imagine spending 4 hours perfecting your resume. I mean, you tweak every single bullet point, you carefully craft this beautiful summary paragraph, only for a recruiter to reject the whole thing in about 7 seconds. That sounds incredibly unfair, right? But it is exactly how modern recruiting works. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to look at exactly what recruiters see when they open your resume and why candidates with way better experience often lose out to candidates who just have better presentation. We're breaking down the 3 ruthless filters your application goes through, and more importantly, how you can beat every single one of them.
Look, everything you've been told about how your resume is evaluated, it's probably wrong. You might picture a recruiter sitting down with a nice cup of coffee, reading your document top to bottom, thoughtfully judging whether you're an impressive professional. But that is not what happens. Not even close. Your resume is not being read. It is being searched. And spending hours perfecting a document means absolutely nothing if it fails a reading process you didn't even know existed. Okay, let's just kill this myth right now. The absolute biggest misconception candidates have is that recruiters are looking at that massive pile of resumes trying to find the best candidate. The reality? They're scanning to find reasons to reject you. I know that sounds brutal, but think about it from their side of the desk. It's not out of malice. It's just pure decision fatigue. Their immediate goal isn't to find the perfect hire. Their goal is to eliminate the sheer volume of applicants so they can find a manageable number of people to actually evaluate. Elimination comes first, evaluation comes much later. To put this into perspective, you really have to look at the math behind the process. The average corporate job posting gets over 250 applications. That is a staggering amount of data for a single position. If a recruiter were to sit down and actually read every single one of those 250 resumes properly, it would take them an entire week of doing absolutely nothing else. And this brilliantly illustrates the immense time pressure they are under, because one single recruiter might be working 15 to 20 open roles at the exact same time. Do the math on that. 20 roles multiplied by 250 applications each. The workload is completely wild. They're managing expectations, they're tracking metrics, they have Slack messages constantly pinging from hiring managers asking, hey, have you shortlisted anyone yet? Because of this system, they simply cannot read. They have to filter, and how they filter is a specific 3-pass system.
So let's get right into it. Pass 1, the machine read.
The very first filter isn't even a human being. Your resume goes directly into an ATS, an applicant tracking system. And the first thing this software does is parse you. It essentially rips your document apart and drops those parsed pieces into different fields within a database. Your name goes here, your job titles go there, your skills and dates in another section. And this is the part almost nobody tells you. The recruiter often never even opens your actual original PDF. They only see what this machine successfully rips out and categorizes.
Which brings us to a really harsh reality about resume design. Let's look at a quick comparison. If you spent hours making a beautiful, polished 2-column layout with neat little graphics, you might actually be sabotaging yourself. That highly designed resume looks beautiful to a human, but it shows up as completely blank fields in the database because it confuses the ATS parser. A boring, standard layout, on the other hand, it guarantees successfully parsed data. If you use a crazy layout, you aren't rejected because your skills are lacking. You're rejected simply because you are unreadable to the machine.
Once your data is actually in the system, then comes the search. Recruiters do not scroll through 250 database entries. They search this ATS exactly like you search Google. They type in exact job titles, key skills like SQL, locations, and years of experience. So consider this a warning. If the exact words they search for are not literally typed on your resume, you don't just rank lower, you just don't appear in the results at all. The machine doesn't infer context. If they search SQL and you wrote responsible for data stuff, poof, you vanish. Pass 1 is entirely about matching words.
If you survive the machine, we move to Pass 2, the 6-second skim.
This is where a human being finally looks at your resume. But eye-tracking research done on real recruiters shows that this first human look is incredibly brief. It lasts roughly 6 to 8 seconds. No way, right? Yes, way. That is literally all the time you have to make an impression and justify moving to the next stage. It is a rapid-fire scan based entirely on visual hierarchy and pattern recognition. And they read in a very specific, predictable way known as an F pattern. Their eyes start across the top and then straight down the left edge. This means they are focusing heavily on your current title, your current company, and your tenure right there in that top third. Then they scan down the left edge to see your previous title, previous company, and maybe your education. Notice what gets completely ignored here. your carefully written summary paragraph, any big walls of text, and your hobbies. In those first 6 seconds, none of that gets seen.
While their eyes are doing that F-pattern scan, their brain is answering 3 rapid-fire questions. First, can this person plausibly do this job? They want a quick title and industry match. Second, is the career story clean and logical? They want to see a natural progression. Third, is anything off? Weird formatting, huge employment gaps, or a confusing job title? In those 6 seconds, they are just looking for a solid yes to these questions. Any confusion, any cognitive friction at all results in immediate rejection.
For the few who make it through, we hit pass 3, the evidence hunt.
But you actually make it to pass 3, they finally read your resume. But they do it almost like a lawyer hunting for evidence. The job description makes specific claims about what the role requires, and you, my friend, are being cross-examined. When a recruiter reads a generic bullet point that says improved efficiency, their brain registers that as an unverified claim. It's totally weightless. But when they read cut processing time 40%, boom, that is evidence. Adjectives absolutely die in pass 3, while numbers and concrete results survive.
And here is a critical psychological insight, an insider secret really. During this evidence hunt, they are also reading to prepare for the interview. They are marking things down to challenge you on. That means your resume isn't just a filter document, it is literally the script for your interview. Whatever is vague, unsupported, or just slightly weird on your resume during this cross-examination, that becomes a direct, challenging question when you're finally sitting in the interview room.
All right, so how do we actually use all this? Here are 5 fixes for your resume.
Okay, let's dive into exactly how we turn this knowledge into action. Honestly, take a screenshot of these 5 actionable fixes right now, because this is exactly how you beat the system. Fix 1, write for the parser. Use a boring, standard layout so the machine can actually read your data. Fix 2, mirror the job description's exact language. Fix 3, win the top third of page 1. That is exactly where those 6 seconds are spent. Fix 4, front-load every bullet on the left edge with a strong action verb, because that F-pattern scan relies on those first few words. And fix 5, attach a number to every single claim you make so you can survive the evidence hunt.
When you understand this process, rejection stops being a mystery. It just becomes a checklist you can beat. Look, the absolute biggest mistake candidates make isn't having a bad resume. It's assuming that recruiters read resumes the same way candidates do. They don't. But now that you know exactly what happens behind the scenes, you can build a document that speaks their language, survives the machine, and proves your worth in 6 seconds flat. So now you know exactly what happens behind the scenes with your resume to get you into the yes pile. But that is only half the battle. What happens next? In our next explainer, I'm going to show you how recruiters search LinkedIn and why some professionals get contacted every single week while others never receive a single message. You definitely won't want to miss it.